Derek Dennis is a household name in this country. Grey Cup champion of the Calgary Stampeders in 2018. Also played with the Dolphins, Patriots, Chicago Bears, Panthers. Couple stints with the Arizona Rattlers. And then into the CFL with the Stamps Rough Riders, as mentioned. XFL with the New York Guardians. Signed a contract, as Wikipedia says, with the Edmonton Elks in 2021, but he's not on the field with them right now. He's with us on the RP Show today. Let's bring in Derek Dennis, the Bone Crusher, if we don't mind. 3-time CFL West Division All-Star, by the way, and CFL Most Outstanding Lineman in 2016. How you doing, Derek?
I'm good, Rod. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. But I'm like every other CFL fan, interested to know what's going on with you. And literally, how are you doing? What is going on with this Edmonton Elks situation and you?
I mean, essentially, it's kind of what you're seeing in sports right now with a lot of football players. Is I kind of put myself in a situation that I wasn't necessarily happy with how things transpired throughout the off season before we even got to the announcement of the season and getting ready to gear up for camp. And as a football player and as a young father to a son, you always want to set an example of what to do. And how you should move in this world, especially for a young black man. So I wanted to just kind of, I wasn't happy with the situation, and I feel like putting myself in a situation that would be more detrimental to my name, to my play, and that's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. Just trying to get the situation figured out as best as I possibly could, and just dealing with it as it comes.
Well, you had mentioned on Twitter, where you are a must-follow, that got all the attention was your tweet where you said you regretted signing with Edmonton. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I just haven't been happy with how upper management has been moving in the sense of since the day I signed. And my thing is, if you know me, the way I tweet is the way I talk, right? I'm very honest. I'm very upfront. I don't hide anything. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell you exactly how I'm feeling at the moment and deal with it as such. And I was very vocal with them about how things were going and me not wanting to put myself in a situation that would be detrimental to me. And I just felt like it was falling on deaf ears, and they had an agenda that they wanted to get done, and that was the only thing that they focused on. So for me as a young family man, I got to make decisions that's not just the best for me, but the best for my family as well. And I would never put them in a compromising situation, regardless of my own selfish desires and what I want to do. So that's exactly why I decided to, sit out at first. And then I was hoping that things could get solved, and it hasn't been going in the proper direction. So that's why most people don't know. I've actually been requesting my release from the team all offseason. Actually, a week after I signed, I asked for my release. So it's been an ongoing situation, and I'm trying to get it figured out as best as I can and going about it as best as I can. But I'm kind of getting backed into a corner that I don't like to be in.
You know, I wanted to ask you about that. You were one of the first players to say, I'm not going to play in 2021, but this is not a retirement. And then you saw your old teammate Blue, who you would know very well because you lined up beside him for one full year, right?
Yeah.
He said the exact same yeah, great guy. He said the exact same thing. So you kind of started something there. Derek, how much did you as players talk to each other about these COVID protocols and what you were going to be expected to comply with and what training camp was going to be like if you showed up? Because Blue wasn't interested. Clearly you weren't either. How much did you guys talk amongst yourselves going into the start of training camp?
Well, I didn't speak to Blue per se, but Blue's a very intelligent guy. And me and him have always had a lot of great conversations when we were teammates in 2017 and, kind of think on the same wavelength, right? And as a player, you have to understand that the business that you're in, first and foremost, it is a business, all right? As much as we love to play the game of football, when you get to this point and get to this level, it's not just about your passion for the game anymore. It's not just about how talented you are, but there are a lot of things that play into how teams move with the roster, how your on-field performance is affected by certain factors. And you got to be able to think outside the box most of the times and look at the full picture, even though you're not getting all the information, right? So I think what it was an instance of being able to be kind of smart enough to just take a step back and reevaluate everything and not just take people's word for what it is and kind of forming your own ideas of how things are going and which direction you think is going. And It actually, everything that kind of transpired was everything I kind of saw coming already. And you'd be surprised how many players actually call my phone to kind of get my thoughts and opinions on how things are going or what's happening or what they should do. I get a lot of respect from a lot of guys around the league, and that's not just due from my field play, but it's also my personality. Everybody knows, if you know me, you know, for the lack of verbiage that we like to use, I'm real. I'm not on sugarcoat nothing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm gonna tell you what the situation is, and I know how to pay attention to people's words and see exactly what the true intention is of what they're trying to say, right? So as much as we wasn't getting a lot of information through the offseason about how the season was going to transpire and what was going to come in, I saw a shortened season coming. I saw how things were structured, and I wasn't happy with it. So when I voiced my opinion on how I wanted to see to get that fixed so that I could be able to play football, because I really do want to play. It's not that I didn't want to play, and it's not that I wanted to retire in a sense. I was kind of backed into that corner. So it was just more about, just like I said, making the best decision for me, my family, and what was going to help me be able to do the things that I needed to do, and what life I created for myself while I was waiting for the pandemic to get settled and get back to the field.
Fellow New Yorker Joe Lazito's watching. He says, stay true to yourself and your family, big man, which you obviously are. Derek, do you envision playing in 2022?
I do, man. I still want to play. I still the compete level in me. Like, I'm a competitor first and foremost. That's what I've always prided myself on. I love competing. I love the atmosphere of being able to show my talents to people, and I feel like I can still do that at a high level. So of course I want to play, but now I have other factors outside of me putting on a helmet and shoulder pads that's going to be affected by me making that decision, right? So I had a baby when the pandemic first started. I just had my daughter. So we've been in isolation raising her for the last year. So I added a second child, and then I just bought a house during the pandemic as well. So I had a lot of factors that was playing into me being able to make the proper decisions to be able to take care of what I need to take care of. And a lot of people don't realize, as an American CFL player, there's a lot of things that you got to take care of at home while you're away in another country trying to play and do the things that you need to do up there, but also taking care of another family and a home that's you're away from for 6-7 months out the year, right? So those are a lot of things that you got to take into account, and not every football player has those circumstances, so we all have to approach it differently, right? So what like they say, what the next man need doesn't make me use the bathroom, right? So it doesn't matter what someone else's situation is. It's not what my situation is. What's the best for my situation. So that's exactly how I'm approaching it.
I'm going to just get to some of the viewer comments in a moment, but I mentioned off the top here, Dolphins, Patriots, Bears, Panthers, Arizona a couple times in the AFL, and then CFL, Grey Cup champion, 3-time division All-Star, 1-time All-Canadian, most outstanding lineman. This, sir, is a Hall of Fame career. Are you prepared for it not to continue? If it didn't, how would you be with that?
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much the sacrifice that I'm making right now. I mean, that's really my whole biggest reason for wanting to continue to play, is that I felt like I started a Hall of Fame resume, and I wanted to continue to build upon that and be able to cement my legacy as a top tier lineman. I mean, it kind of settled in for me when I got voted for that all-decade, second team all-decade, for a guy who's only played 4 full seasons in the CFL to be considered one of the best 4 tackles to play in the last 10 years. I mean, that's something big, man. That's something that I took a lot of pride in. So I wanted to be able to keep building upon that, man. I love winning championships. I love being in a team atmosphere. And guys know my heart and my passion, man. You know, every time you see me step on the field, when the lights come on, I'm going to perform. And that's just how I've always been built. So, of course, I wanted to continue to build upon that. That's the main reason why I signed to come back up. But again, I had to take a step back and look at the full picture of the situation and have to realize that I'm not putting myself in something that's going to be detrimental to me, because I did that once in my career, and it didn't. I had to do a lot of work to kind of get myself out of my name out of that mud. So I didn't want to put myself back in another situation like that.
There is a lot of comments and questions, but I'm only going to read one. It's for Jeff, the Stamps fan. I'm going to do him a solid because he watches every day, and he is a huge Calgary fan, obviously. He says, I'm wondering if Mr. Dennis has any insight on why his success was greater during his 2 times in Calgary versus other places.
A lot of factors. I felt like Calgary was the one place that appreciated me, that gave me my opportunity first and foremost, and that worked with me. I had a great relationship with my O-line coach and Pat Delmonico. I had a great relationship with Coach Dickinson. I had a great relationship with Huff, man. And that's one thing I always appreciated about my time in Calgary is that they were professional, man. They were upfront. They were honest. They didn't tell you what you wanted to hear, or they didn't give you any lies. They gave it to you straight up about what it was or where you was at and how the situation was going to be approached, right? So as a man, that's all you can ever ask from another man is to be upfront and honest with me so that way, I can figure out how exactly I need to move in my situation and do that. And I feel like other places I wasn't getting that. So that's why and my demeanor and my attitude is, if I feel like you're gonna BS me, then what am I gonna give you my all for? What am I gonna invest my time and energy in beating my body up to make you look good if you're not gonna invest that same type of energy into me, right? So Calgary was always the one place I got that, and it was easy for me to go out there and perform because I felt like I was in a place that actually cared about me.
Derek Dennis, fantastic. I wish you well. Anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
Oh, man, I just keep doing what you do, Roddy. I love the show, man. I love what you do, man. Hopefully one day, if things don't work out for me on the field, I'm trying to get myself in the media atmosphere too. So I actually got a lot of stuff I'm gearing up to pump out some content for the fans. About to start a show of my own kind of based around just focusing on the trench play, right? I feel like the O-linemen in the CFL, D-linemen, don't get enough credit for what they do and what they have to battle with, and kind of breaking it down as best I can for the fans so that they could get a better insight to what the big boys in the trenches got to deal with.
Is that that's what your degree's in, isn't it?
Yeah, I got a degree in broadcast journalism.
Yeah, well, you're more educated than me, so just don't take my job, Derek.
No, man. If anything, we'll form a partnership, if anything.
Anything you need, you know where to find us. All right, Derek, be well, my friend. Thank you.
For sure. Appreciate it. Take care, fellas.
The Bone Crusher, Derek Dennis, joining us from the Valley of the Sun.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.